Right, back again. So now this is dry. The next thing is to put the water foam in. First of all, what we need to do is get rid of this blue, masking fluid that we put around the edge, water's edge. Now what I'm using here is a special rubber. It's a little bit like the crepe you used to get on the bottom of your shoes, the crepe shoes that you used to get. Just stops you transferring oils back onto the paper from your hand. So just gently rub it along where the masking fluid is, and it gently should take it off the paper without damaging it. Okay, here we go, around this one here. Okay, we're going to leave the rest of the masking fluid on for now. So just want to get this water in. Okay, and then the reflection. So this is the main part of the exercise. Get the water in and then do some reflections from down here. Okay, and up here. So first thing I'm going to do is I want a large flat brush. So I'm going to use this one. This is a 3/4 1-stroke Aquafine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet round these earth mounds carefully. Doesn't matter if we go into the rocks a little bit because they're going to be really dark anyway. But being careful, and up at the top I want to try and leave a white line, a very thin white line, because as you look out onto the horizon of a body of water you'll see a nice glistening spot, and also around the water's edge if we can. Okay, the colours we're going to be using are what we've got in the sky, so we're going to put them in the main body of water. Then for the reflections we're going to use these colours that we've used on the soil mound. Okay, and for the reflections you're going to need a flat brush, a smaller one. So you're not going to use this big one, you want just something about that size, which is a sort of 12 flat. You need a little flat brush like that. Okay, so the first thing is to get this water in. So I'm going to wet the brush. I'm going to go around carefully up here, leaving as thin a strip as I can. Doesn't matter if it's not all the way across, if you've got some of the water on there. Fetch the water down. You can use a sponge if you want, but you'd have to be very careful around this section here. Okay, up to that edge there. You don't need to leave an edge, a white edge there. It's just on the bottom sections where the reflections are going to go into the water. Okay, so a nice thin section around there. The rest of it is going to be wet. Cloth there. Okay. Let's get another going across there, around the water, and that. Okay, down here. Make sure we've got a nice glisten on there. Just a little bit here, and just at this top edge there. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to carry on using the flat. Mix up this. So we've got the sky colours here. So I'm starting with the lighter one. So I'm going to start with the lighter colour up here. Pull it along, and then as it comes down here, just leave it like that. Okay, so that's the light colour. Clean the brush, take the excess off, and then go into the bit of the cobalt. The cobalt in there as well. Now be careful and make sure you put your, if you're going across horizontally, and try and keep the lines horizontal, because that's what water is, it's horizontal. Okay, so put some blue there, come down carefully around the mounds. Okay, into where the rocks are, around here, leave a little bit of the white. There we go. Now I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this the blue that we added with the phthalo blue in. I'm just going to put a little bit of that in there as well. Okay. Do that horizontally as carefully as I can. Okay. And careful down here that we don't leave a... We'll just dry that off, and then we just smooth down there. That's better. Okay. Right, so while this is wet, this is when the magic happens, when we put in the reflections. So what we're going to be reflecting is, we're going to have a little bit of the grey that we had in the sky, which was the cobalt, and a little bit of the red, light red, okay, to make up a grey, a purpley grey there. And what we're going to do is, so we have a bit of, so we come down here where these trees are, and then obviously it goes across, because we're doing a mirror effect of here, okay. Clean the brush. Now I'm just going to get the smaller brush now, make sure it's almost dry. And suck up some of this, it's a little bit too wet here. Alright, so we've got the darker colour in. So you've got where your trees are, roughly there. Okay, with a bit of a darker colour. As they come out. And then what we're going to do is make sure your brush is pretty dry. And then literally vertical, pull it down vertically. And it will pull the reflection down. Let's have a look, that needs to be a little bit darker, a little bit thicker. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, make them a little bit darker. Really quite dark enough, so it's a bit thicker, this paint. Okay, so again, let's have a look. So that's where the trees go, and your reflections are always a little bit deeper than what they were, because they travel further down in the water. Okay. Okay, so the first stage is clean the brush, most of the excess water out, make sure it's flat, and then literally pull down vertically and pull them into the water, into the body of the water, like that, and down here. So you're elongating them anyway, and they're coming down into the water there, okay? Then what you do is just wipe your brush, and then just go across lightly, very lightly, go back across horizontally. Okay? So we've got them, we will go back on and you can do them again later. So this now, coming around here, we can use, we're going to have two colours. We're going to have some of the burnt sienna in, because we've got some burnt sienna in here. So if we go sort of, leave a bit of a gap, put some touches of burnt sienna there, across here, like that. Clean, take off the excess, pick up your darker colour, drop them in as well there. The blue, okay. So just dropping that colour in there, like that. Get the brush, wipe the excess off, make sure the brush is clean and flat, and then literally vertically just go along, pulling reflections down like that. Again, up this side. Okay. There we go. And then what we do is just gently soften them off that way, but without losing the vertical strokes. Okay, so just let that settle a bit, and then we'll go back up here and do some more on these. Okay, so if you don't think that they're quite dark enough, just drop some more colour in. This will be a little bit darker at the top. We don't need to go as far down with these, because obviously shadows will get lighter and reflections will get lighter as we move further down. Okay, clean the brush, and again so these will just be a little bit darker up at the top end there, and then again go across gently, making sure it's vertical there, but without deleting all of the vertical strokes there. And again, right now this should be settled a bit more. We need it a little bit darker on this edge because it mirrors. Okay, so let me make this a little bit thicker up here. Okay, a bit more blue. A bit darker. There we go. So this is a lot thicker paint. Let's start here. Try and leave some of the white again at the top. As I say, it don't need to be all white, but there we go. It's a bit darker still, I think. Clean the brush, take the excess out, pull it flat, go across and just vertically pull it out. Up, there we go. Okay, and then just gently back again. A few horizontal strokes. Okay. And there you can see, now you can see that we've got the reflections in. Okay. Just double check it, make sure you can still see that there's some vertical strokes coming down. And we go. Okay, so that's your reflections done wet in wet. You can do them dry if you want to, or it's best if you do them wet. They get a little bit softer, and they soften in. Right then, while that's drying, what we can do is we'll do a little bit of more work on here, and then we'll concentrate on these rocks here. Okay, so I'll tell you what else we can do. Put some white here. At the end of the painting, I'll show you how by using a bit of white gouache. We can actually put some white ripples into the water as well. And we will be putting some blue ones in there in a little while once it's all dried and settled down. But let's go back to here. So, now then, it's up to you. This is where you can sort of do your own bit of imagination. You can put a fence in there, you can put some rocks in there. Now to put some rocks in, because this is now dry, so what we're going to do is we're going to take out this masking fluid now. So all the masking fluid is off there. The only masking fluid we've got left is on the rocks. Okay, brush that off. So what I'm going to do now, using a small brush, just damp, I'm going to do some dry brushing. So I'm going to use some of this burnt sienna, a bit of kitchen roll. Okay, so I put some burnt sienna on this brush, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of the brush, splay the brush a little bit. Okay, so there's hardly any paint left on there. And then gently, as it's flat, splay the brush out a little bit there. You can see how flat it is. Okay, so it's very flat. I've taken most of the paint out, and then what I'm going to do is put the brush sort of flat against the paper, and you can hear it sort of scratching, like a scratching effect. And what it does, it puts a little bit of the paint that's on the brush back on the paper, but it goes over the texture of the paper. So in other words, it lays across, because this is textured, it'll lay across the top of the paper and leave sort of little textured marks there. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, for little rocks, I've got some of the darker colours and some of the burnt sienna. Get a point on the brush, and then using the tip of the brush, I'm just going to make some little stipple marks coming down to down here to the front, coming back up here, just randomly. And these can be little rocks and little boulders that you'll find on the sand dunes, or on little bits of earth where the water's come in and rushed up on the side and then gone back out again. Okay, make some little bigger ones if you want there, some bigger rocks. I'll put just some little ones there. Clean your brush and then just drag some of the paint down like that, so it gives you sort of shadowy effects on the rocks there, the water's washed over them. Okay, then what I'm going to do, using this, I'm going to use some of the yellow, the raw sienna with the burnt sienna in, and I'm going to put a couple of fence posts, I think, just here. So I'll put one there, one I'm going to put as though it's fell down there or it's broke, and then probably one just there. So there's only 3 little fence posts. It's just to give it a little bit of an interest. And then I'm going to pick the dark paint up, okay, which would be the cobalt blue and the burnt sienna, okay. And then on the right hand side of that, I'm just going to go down with the darker colour. Okay, there we go. Clean the brush off, wipe it down, and then sort of blend if I can. Just go down gently and blend those 2 colours slightly together, so you've got a slightly lighter edge on one side. Okay, and then with a really thin brush, I'll pick some more of this dark up, and then literally just put in a bit of a wobbly wire there. Okay, so that's broke, so that's just going to fade off there. A little bit down there as well. And have it coming up there, like that. So it just adds a little bit of a feature there. And then if you want, you can put in some bits of rock around the bottom, just so it beds it into the picture, so they don't look like they're just floating in midair. Okay, so that's that done. I'm going to mix up now. I'm going to mix some green up, because it's all brown and dark colour, so just to put a little bit of colour into the composition, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix up a little bit of green, some greens, some lighter greens. Okay, so I'm going to do that by mixing some of the lemon yellow, so it's a nice bright yellow, as you can see there. So I've got nice bright yellow, and then I'm just going to take some of the cobalt blue, just to make it quite, so it's still a bit vibrant. So just add in a little bit of the raw sienna, and that will sort of keep it yellowy, but it takes it down a little bit. Okay, and then using a very thin brush, I'm just going to get some of this on there, And where we took some of this, where the masking fluid was, I'm just going to drop in a bit of colour there. Some of the lighter green, so it's like a yellowy green. Okay, just put a bit of that in there. And then pick some of this burnt sienna up as well. And just blend that in with that green, just so it doesn't look too bulky or obvious there. Okay, and that looks like we've just got a little bit of greenery or something growing there. Okay, so that's that bit finished with. So now we're going to do the rocks. Now then, the rocks. I'm going to mix up some. We've got the raw sienna and burnt sienna that we've got. We can use that. Okay. And then I'm going to mix up as well another green, but using a Rorolin and some French ultramarine. So we've got quite a darkish, well, not too dark, but a green there. Okay. And then we'll mix the other colour up when this is... So this area here that we marked in, it's still got the masking fluid on, that's fine. So you want a round brush. I'm going to use the number 10. And I'm going to put in, first of all, I'm going to paint some of this, the yellow, which is the raw sienna and burnt sienna. I'm just painting this on dry paper. Okay. Paint that most of the places there. Come down here where the rocks sort of end. Okay. That's it. And then I'm going to pick up some of the green. So I'm not even cleaning the brush, I'm just picking the green up. I'm going to drop some of this green in all over. Just in patches. So you've got both colours showing like that. Okay, and then what we're going to do is let that dry. And while that's drying, what I might do is over here, I'm just going to add in, just going to put a bit of the yellow. I'm just going to put a bit of a rocky area here just to add a little bit more interest. And put some of the green in there as well. Let that dry. Just on the edge there. Okay. So it's just dropping into the water. So it's on the water's edge on there. So while that's drying now, what we need is a really nice thick